mynews.studio.
In Switzerland, doctors are now prescribing museum visits instead of medication. Is art becoming a form of therapy?
Today's date is June 22nd, 2025. Let's dive in. In Neuchâtel, Switzerland, there's something unusual happening in healthcare. Doctors are giving prescriptions not just for medicine, but for entry to museums. The thinking is that viewing art could support mental health. Do you think a stroll through a gallery can really compare to traditional therapy?
That's the central question, isn't it? The first results are intriguing. This pilot lets doctors prescribe free access to 3 local museums and the city's botanical garden. So far, about 500 prescriptions have been handed out. But it's not just about giving people something to do. There's real research behind it. The World Health Organization found that the arts can help reduce trauma, slow cognitive decline, and generally improve well-being. Still, is that enough to shift how we treat mental health? There's
another factor too, the pandemic. During COVID-19, when museums were closed, public mental health actually took a hit. Julie Corcio de la Fontaine, who runs the city's culture department, said lockdowns made them realize culture was, in her words, essential for the well-being of humanity. But what do we know about how patients feel after these art prescriptions?
Some describe it as transformative. For instance, a young woman dealing with burnout received a museum prescription and called it a little light in the darkness. Dr. Patricia Lehman, one of the physicians involved, says these visits provide patients with a joyful moment of discovery. It offers a break from daily worries, even if just for a while. But it's important to add, this isn't meant to replace medication or therapy. It's just one more tool.
Exactly, and they're tracking results. The program collects feedback from both patients and doctors, looking for things like improved mood, reduced stress, and more social engagement. There are also plans for a control group to compare art prescriptions with standard treatments using mental health assessments. But do we know yet if the benefits go beyond just anecdotes?
Not at this stage, and that's a major limitation. The budget is small, around 10,000 Swiss francs, and the pilot is still new. But the idea is attracting attention beyond Switzerland. There's talk of expanding to include theater, dance, even having health insurance cover cultural prescriptions. Do you think this kind of model could work in countries with fewer mental health resources?
That's a tough one. Access is a challenge everywhere. In Switzerland, one issue has been making sure people with mobility limitations can actually get to these sites. Another is encouraging participation among people who are socially withdrawn. Are those obstacles too big, or can they be overcome?
They're significant but not impossible to address. Other countries might adapt the idea by offering mobile exhibitions or even virtual art experiences. The main point is recognizing that culture and creativity can play a role in healing. As mental health needs grow worldwide, could this become a model for more holistic care?
It could be. What stands out here is how this approach redefines health, not just as avoiding illness, but as a state that includes joy, connection, and creativity. Switzerland is showing what can happen when healthcare tries something different. Do you think other countries will try something similar?
We'll have to wait and see. As more results come in, we'll get a better sense of whether art really does belong on the prescription pad.
So today, we looked at how Switzerland is using art to support mental health, what the early responses are, and the questions that remain. Could cultural experiences be the missing piece in mental health care?
Thanks for joining us as we explored Switzerland's art prescription experiment. If you're interested in more stories like this, stay tuned.
Thank you for listening. This episode was brought to you by mynews.studio. You can try it now for free.